Hello, I'm Dr. Sam Hancock of the Emerald Planet and Emerald Planet TV. We come to you on a week-to-week basis from Washington, D.C. in the United States as we look around the globe in 144 different nations, looking for those 1,000 best practices, the technology, services, and products that are making a difference as we move through the 21st century. And as we have a planet of 9 billion people by 2038 and possibly 12 to 13 billion by the end of this century, how are we going to be able to take care of all these people on planet Earth? And that's what Emerald Planet's all about. We come to you looking at the solutions, the best practices from around the globe as we create the Emerald Planet. Hello, welcome to the Emerald Planet. We're making a difference as we move through the 21st century. And seeing the long-term impacts of climate change. We're glad to have you. Thank you for being with us. Looking at the country of Nigeria and its capital city of Abuja, we're looking at best practices in that country that may be examples not only across the African continent, but around the globe. And we're going to be talking about waste management and sustainability. And this is Rotarian George Hembah. He is the president of the Rotary Club of Abuja, Ministers Hill, and also he is the CEO of Hembah Consulting Limited. George, welcome to the Emerald Planet TV.
Thank you very much. Nice to be invited here.
Well, we're glad to have you. Tell us a little bit about the Rotary Club of Abuja, Ministers Hill.
Well, Rotary Club of Abuja Ministers Hill started about 7 years ago on the 15th of July, 2013, to be precise. And we grew from a membership of about 5 to currently we're at 22. And Rotary Club basically is into humanitarian services, which covers the 6 areas of focus, which is basically education, right? That's basic education and literacy, peace and conflict resolution, empowerment, water sanitation and hygiene, maternal and child health, and disease prevention and control. Yeah, so as a Rotarian, we are meant to cover or render humanitarian aid in any of these 6 areas of focus.
That's absolutely fantastic. We're going to be talking about waste management and sustainability. Why is that so important for Abuja and Nigeria to bring about innovation in waste management?
Well, there's a lot of waste presently in Abuja and Nigeria as a whole. And the need for us to create different ways of carrying out some innovative methods is to improve the living standards of people. It's also to help in preventing a lot of disease prevention and control, because where there's a lot of waste, it comes about so many forms of diseases. So with the reduction of it, it's also helped in reducing that aspect of diseases. So in the area of innovations, as a Rotarian, we look out for different ways in which we can manage the waste products in our country, Nigeria, and Abuja, where we are centered at right now.
That's fantastic. Now, looking at some of the innovations that you're doing there, things are very simple, as they should be. So tell us what we're looking at here, and we're going to be going through some of the best practices that actually are being implemented in Abuja and Nigeria.
Well, this is a biotechnology, and although it's locally fabricated, because getting fabrications from the western parts will be very expensive based on the foreign exchange. So we decide to do things locally with our natural resources. So this is a local fabricated, innovative biotechnology. And the whole essence of this is converting waste into an end product, which will be used in either providing some form of manure for the soils that is within the horizon.
And the next process, again, using local materials and local labor?
Yeah, it's still the same process. This is actually how it's being manufactured. So this is the manufacturing process, and this is how it starts. So we start from this process and build it up. So here you could see the locals carrying out the plants, setting up the plants, starting from the ground, starting from the digging and having it dug up. Then we now start building the other process and fixing in the other peripherals that will make it up properly.
The interesting thing about this, George, is that you're using local labor, of course, but also local materials and adapting it to the reality of not only the urban areas of Nigeria and within Abuja itself, but also for rural areas around the country. So it looks like that you want to develop these best practices, but expand it across the whole country.
Yes, it's easier for us to use the local practice because it's going to be cheaper, and then the manpower and technical know-how is a bit easier as compared to using the Western products. So it's easier and then easier to also maintain because everything is done locally. So even in the area of maintenance, it's easier for us to take time out to maintain it properly.
I think that's an excellent point, George. Many people think about the technologies, putting in whatever the latest technology may be, or even using traditional materials, but little thought is given to the long-term maintenance and repair, and that's something that you're already thinking about. So, in a sense, that's a best practice in itself. But the whole thing
Thank
about it
you.
is a lot of local labor does go into these types of projects, doesn't it?
Yes, as you could see in this other slide here, it shows a typical example of a local taking out time to do his construction work. And everything we are doing is from natural resources. So this is a typical personnel on the field carrying out his own assignment. His own duty here is to mold the blocks. And this is locally molding the blocks, preparing a preparation stage for molding the blocks. So that's what you can see, that everything we are doing is local. Everything we are doing is from natural resources. And even the tools, instead of using the conventional tools, we are using more of the local tools. Over here, the next slide you're seeing, okay, so that's why you could see he's practically using his hands to show that he's not using any modern equipment, but then using the proper ways of doing it locally and using his skills also.
Yeah, that's very
So,
important. Looking at the
yeah.
recycling, this is something that is a big effort now in Nigeria to recycle the waste because you're getting very high quality waste in these days, and it seems strange to talk about high quality waste, but plastics, aluminum, steel, many other recyclable areas. So, how is that actually helping to solve the waste issue in Nigeria for using recycling?
Well, we have a culture of a lot of waste in our country. You know, for some strange reasons, we are having this culture of so many waste. A typical Nigerian goes on the streets, takes a snack and throws it on the floor, and probably take a drink and throws it on the floor without having to put it in a proper bin. So one of the agencies called the Abuja Environmental Agency, which by extension is of the Environmental Agency, is responsible for gathering all this waste from the aluminum to the plastic to the woods and trying to recycle them and turn them into an end product. So what we are seeing in this slide here are the collections of products, the wasted products that have been collected over time, and then they are prepared for being recycled to carry out end products such as papers, such as some form of designs, furnitures, because you could use some woods and convert them into making some lovely furnitures, artistic furnitures. So this picture here depicts us, the collection of all this waste together and preparing it for the recycling process.
That's absolutely wonderful. Looking at this cycle here, tell us a little bit about this, and how do you think that Abuja, the capital, and Nigeria as the country are actually more and more involved in this cycle of using waste and turning it into useful products?
Well, right now, Nigeria and Abuja is becoming more enlightened and sees that recycling becomes the order of the day. Because instead of us having to import items from outside the country, we could convert our waste into some end products. So here is a typical example in Abuja where you could convert any single from, it starts from the products that it can be reused. So it shows that once you recycle it properly, it could be reused for either setting up some other plants. So it brings about opportunities in employment, because people now get to sort out the waste. They're sorting out the plastic, they're sorting out the wood, they're sorting out the aluminum, and placing it to where it can be converted into proper use again. So this is a typical example of us recovering the waste, which we saw in the other pictures. After recovering it, it's now been recycled based on the machineries that have been put in place. And then the end product is it being reused to satisfy some certain things that are in need in the country.
Yeah.
So as I said, we're trying to reduce the aspect of importing items when we could actually reuse some of these items again and again and again.
Mm-hmm.
So it's reducing the cost. It's reducing the cost.
Yeah, and also is a substitution for imports. So this is all about the various recycling, paper, glass, plastic, metal that's going into your process. But looking at making various products and then getting to the plants, and this is something we're going to talk about with you further. But why is it so important that you use the local materials, turning the waste into fertilizer and for agriculture? And this is one of the last questions. We got to be quick.
Okay. Now, in recycling, you also have some residual products that comes out of it. And most of these residual products are excellent, they are perfect products that are used in planting for manures, for production of fertilizers, and all. So in recycling, the residual products are being sorted out and kept for the purpose of agriculture. Agriculture is going to become, it is already the norm, and it's a major source of generating funds for the country. So with having agriculture being, with having the residual product being recycled and converted into fertilizers, it helps in boosting the soil, and at the end of the day, it helps also in producing food, because when you have a good fertilizer being used in your soil, it helps in the formation process of whatever your crops.
And then at the end of the day, George Hembah, he's president of the Rotary Club of Abuja, Ministers Hill. Thank you for being with us as we create the Emerald Planet.